Hello and welcome to another video. So today we are playing a ForestCraft deck through the Grand Prix. There are two videos to go through, two matches to go through with this deck. I think at least one of them's Grand Prix, one of them... No, they're both Grand Prix, from memory. Either way, not that important. Mostly, this deck is a Mecha Elf style deck. Still uses the Okami and Miracle of Blood style of play, but doesn't focus on the buffing like our other deck, and takes advantage of really nice storm mechanics and low-cost card effects, while also taking advantage of course, bigger effects. This deck I found can be quite good, although I definitely would want to put it in the hands of a better Forest player. I definitely struggle due to the fact that I don't play a lot of Forest, and some Forest's mechanics are stuff that I don't enjoy that much, so we are going to get right into it and check it out. So my first game here is up against Swordcraft. Typically not a big worry when I go up against Swordcraft, but overall I just have to push as much aggression from this deck as I can, as most Swordcraft decks focus on the ambush build, or at least a later turn 7 sort of play style, so that's all we have to worry about. So Robotic Bagworm actually works best with the 3-drop Storm card, since of course they combo well together. Doesn't mean it can't go with other cards here, but I definitely would like to hold onto it for as long as I can. This hand just doesn't look great, and only getting to attack for 2 is definitely not a good sign. But we did manage to get the Mecha Claw Elf, even if it is a turn late. So we are going to generate 5 damage, which looks very promising, and I decided to throw May out earlier, since I don't really have a use for her, and playing her next turn as just fodder would be pointless, so we may as well just play it now. And I think that definitely made the right choice, as it became a decent target. And they definitely tried to force as much damage as they could. Now we get a good chance, Ironbow Sniper, plus a 5 damage burst. So, at 8, very important, getting them reasonably low. All we've really got though is the Cynthia play. So if they happen to have Dual Blade, we do pretty much lose the match here. Although Leod is actually uncovered, so if we destroy it, it's not going to matter, since it's not ambushed anymore. So it's probably enough to actually keep this game going. Definitely in our favour. Angelic Smite though, not something I enjoy. At least we can deal 2 damage and set up our Prime Okami, which will get us another 4, plus a good couple of bodies to go along with it. Plus they're within striking range now of Mecha, so we can actually use it as a 3. So that worked pretty well for that match. Now, our second match is against Portal. This one was rough, let's put it that way. I worried about almost every single play I was making and was trying to be as careful as I could, while at the same time trying to win the game. Sometimes risks are important, but really getting pushed out in these games can be really hard. So we have May as our only 1-drop now, not really useful. There's one Magna Giant that we've seen, which is great. Seeing one of them at least means that they aren't going to be able to use it as a mass board wipe. Although the way that they've gone for this makes me believe they're probably focusing on the draw engine for it. Alright, so we've started off pretty well. Our opponent's doing okay. We can actually get rid of this with the Ironbow Sniper here. Ironbow Sniper works really well with the early game of this deck typically, so I don't mind using it. Plus it does kind of combo with the Robotic Bagworm if you just want to deal full damage, so that's always good as well. And we've taken a pretty early lead overall. And we now have Okami to use, so this is looking very promising. So I try and spread my damage out because I know what Portal's like. I don't want them wiping one big follower and then only having small stuff. I'd rather have roughly equal value across my board. Which is why I did evolve the 1-3, plus it has a better health stat, so it's more likely to survive than if I evolved the 1-1. Plus the 1-1 couldn't go attack face, so that would have been a little more pointless. So we got good value overall out of that turn. But it looks like they are going to pretty much wipe out the board here. I mean, it's no real surprise. They have a really, really good setup right now. The only thing they don't have is face damage on us. So that's where we actually have a chance. And double Okami is promising. So I go for the double repair mode, mainly so I can go for the Fairy Awakening. And I have a Clef, even though he's going to deal 0. He does get us a May. So we now get to use one of our Mays for damage removal. And we can actually wipe the board completely. I couldn't have actually been happy with how that turn overall ended up. It worked pretty well for us, and now we've got a really good amulet down. The struggles, though, really do begin from here on, where we're so close to lethal, yet so far at the same time. So my initial idea for this turn is usually to set up for 2-turn lethal, so play Prime Okami, play Prime Okami. That's what I'm aiming for. The problem is, over those 2 turns, if they heal at all, it pretty much screws up any kind of chance we have for our plan to work. But that's not necessarily the be-all end-all of this, so all I can do is take the chance, and now that we have Miracle of Love, we do at least have an option for the following turn, where we can actually go with Fairy Awakenings, May, and Miracle for some good damage. Oof, Magna Giant is definitely a rough one. We actually have no way to get rid of this without wasting absolutely vital followers. So I was hoping I could go for, say, Prime Okami. Unfortunately, if it was turn 9, we would have been able to win with that. This time though, I wasn't, so I decided I had to force out the Gentle Forest Beauty and take it that way. I can still go for Okami plus the guard next turn, which could potentially win us the game if they tried another ward. But it looks like they went the other route and decided to go for healing, which obviously counts my Prime Okami out as a win condition right now. Because as soon as they went up to 5, I needed to do basically 2 attacks on them. The only real bonus is that any one health follower that attacks my face does take 1 damage, so at least we limit the things that the Victoria and stuff can do next turn. And now we definitely have got it pretty rough here. So I decided to just try and force it again. Trying to set up for the Prime Okami, since that's the only way I can see us getting lethal. Unfortunately, here's their 3rd Magna Giant. So my only hope is to draw 1 low-cost follower. That was what I initially thought when I was thinking of this. Unfortunately, I got Miracle of Love. I spent a second, thought about it, and realized, hey, Miracle of Love with its Storm Beast, Rush Beast, because Storm's only when Gentle is in play, will actually just be enough. So we had the exact perfect way to open up lethal by removing this ward. It was such a close game, but in the end, we managed to persevere and push through. So while I've said many times I'm not a big Forest player, I still like showing these decks off for you guys, and it does push me to actually play Forest some more. I still do need to get Forest to 140 even in level just to get the rupee bonus, and 150 of course for the maximum bonus in wins, but at this stage, you know, this deck I'm pretty happy with. It does a good job. I believe it's one of the decks that comes from one of the Revs players. I'm not sure where he's pulled it from, but it's still really solid, and not that many people are playing it on the current ladder, so I recommend you guys go give it a go if you're interested and want to check it out. I'll leave the link to the description so you can, of course, get the deck code and give it a full-on go. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, see ya.